What's up, everybody? Welcome to the Early Edge NFL Kickoff Show, brought to you by BetMGM, the sportsbook. Born in Vegas, Will Brinson here, along with Sia Nejad, Danny Brasco, and Mackenzie Brooks. Pumped for free food and drinks. You guys excited for that? Everybody knows about this?
Nobody said anything about free food and drinks. Dang it.
Well, we're not getting it, but I don't know if you know, this is actually happening. So Atlanta Falcons hosting the Kansas City Chiefs tonight. We'll give you all our best bets and player props. First touchdown scores. Finally got one on the Sunday. Today's Sunday. Wow. On the Thursday night show. I can't think. And but anyway, so Arthur Blank is being inducted into the Falcons Ring of Honor tonight, which means like essentially he's inducting himself into the Ring of Honor because which is cool. Like I respect it. I mean, I would do that. I mean, if I owned an NFL team, I'd be like, we'd be called the Brinsons. But in celebration, he is giving out free food and drink to all fans who attend the game tonight, like a hot dog and a Coke or something like that, which is pretty cool.
Is there like any world where you can like the way that fans at away games boo opposing team to miss that second free throw so they don't get the frosty or something like that, like the Isaiah Thomas quote? Is there a way that it can stop the free food and drink? Because if I was a Chiefs fan, I'd be in the building just going nuts for that.
I don't know. That's a good question. We've got a thing at NC State where, like, we'll get to the game in a second, but with basketball, where the opposing team misses two free throws in the final like 5 minutes or something, everybody gets free Chick-fil-A, and it's actually weird because they don't you don't have to redeem anything. It's just if you're like in the area, you get a free sandwich, and even if you don't go to the game, it's kind of cool. Moving right along to the actual game, the Chiefs. I can't help myself. Like it's this squirrel brain of mine. Like we'll mention something random before we get going. Everybody doing good? Everybody happy? Everybody have a good Sunday? Anything interesting of note, by the way?
Well, sorry, Mackenzie, I didn't mean to interrupt you. I mean, the Rams just tied the game. I'm on a nice little run on SportsLine. I think I've won like 5 NFL bets in a row, but one of my plays was San Francisco -7 before the Kittle injury. I didn't get the best number. They were up 10, like it felt like a second ago. Now it's 24-24. So that one's real interesting.
Very
I have had so far a pretty rough betting weekend, like truly, which means I'm a great buy low stock right now, guys. I am so unbelievably due to have a great night. So you're welcome. Had a terrible Saturday slate so that you guys could really cash some tickets with me tonight.
And Ken's, last time we said that was last Sunday, Brinson. We crushed it on the night show, right? We did pretty damn well. So I'm happy about that. Some interesting results for me. I went ahead and said that Will Levis would make less mistakes than Malik Willis today. That analysis was incorrect, and I lost that. However, I said Bo Nix would have his best day today and career game for Bo Knows Ball against the Tampa Bay Bucks. So there you go. 1 for 1, 3-1 on SportsLine plays. Let's close the night strong, like Ken said.
Okay.
I don't know why I keep throwing myself under the bus, but like these two picks that I gave out on HQ this week were so wrong that it's almost funny. One, my survivor pick being Cleveland losing to the Giants. That was super awesome. Second one being the Eagles Saints over. I thought the Eagles secondary was still going to get cooked by guys like Rashid Shaheed. Yeah. Rashid Shaheed scored a big fat 0 fantasy points after I finally put him on my starting lineup. Benched Christian Kirk for him. Does nothing.
That's not great.
Anyways, I'm not upset about it. I'm just
worth noting, just to tuck away, because I saw a tweet about this and I was pretty furious at myself since I had the Buccaneers as like one of my best bets and put him in a 2-unit teaser on like the picks. I'm going against Katie Mox. Sean Payton 7-0 against Todd Bowles and averages 30 points per game. I missed that stat before they had because you played him with 2 years every time in New Orleans. So next time that Sean Payton plays Todd Bowles, maybe take the Sean Payton team.
And Brinson, heads up too. Payton as a dog is now 57-33 against the spread. The Broncos are going to be underdogs again. Payton covers spreads.
Yep. Love me some Sean Payton. I have some great Sean Payton combine stories that I can't tell on here. But he almost like blew out my ACL coming to the bathroom. Anyway, moving along. The Chiefs and the Falcons. Sia, what do you think about? I mean, this is a great game. Atlanta's winning on Monday night. You roll it right into this home game, primetime against the 2-time defending champs. Chiefs are laying 3, I believe, at last look. You like the dog here, or are you more interested in a total?
Yeah, I'm so close to an official play here, but I never made it. My official play is going to be on a prop, which we'll talk about later, of course. But I like the dog here. I mean, listen, this opened, I believe, at 3.5, and obviously it got bet down, which probably surprises some like just general public bettors. But I kind of get it. I think this is a really good spot for Atlanta. I think 3 points is enough for me to be enticed there. I just personally don't like betting against Mahomes on primetime, no less, but in the fourth quarter. So I think my favorite look in this game from a side standpoint is probably either the Falcons first quarter plus a half, or actually better yet, once we get those scripted plays done with Andy Reid, maybe the Falcons plus 1.5 first half. Again, that's not an official play for me, but if you had to make a bet, or if you asked me to make a bet on a side here, it would be Falcons first half. I wouldn't take the money line. I would get the points plus 1.5.
What say you, Danny, on a side or a total?
I'm right in line with the spread. I think the odds makers got it right. You give a field goal to the road favorite Mahomes. I'm kind of with Sia. Like, Mahomes is a witch. He finds a way to cover. It's devil magic. It's whatever you want to call it. Like, when nothing should happen, it happens. So I'm going to stay off that. But there is sharp action on the Falcons. It's opened at 3.5. The numbers move down. They are the home dogs here. And that safety tandem of Jesse Bates and Justin Simmons is legit. I really like the secondary. I'll talk more on why I like a total bet, a prop bet a little later in the show, but I'm going to stay off the spread. I think it's accurate, and I think the dogs are live. I like a lot of the points that Sia made.
Yeah, I'm not going to lie. I put Chiefs -3 down in the rundown as my pick, and I was like, I don't know if I like that. Like, I don't like. I'm just being transparent here. I don't want like. You got to drop 5 units. This isn't like a whale play on the Chiefs -3 or anything. I think I lean towards the Chiefs a little bit, mostly because I think, one of the things we've seen with Atlanta is that they can run the ball effectively. The offensive line looks good. I think it'll be a lot tougher against this Steve Spags defense. And Atlanta's defense doesn't look like they can slow down anyone. I know Isaiah Pacheco is hurt. He's not going to play in this game. There's some buzz this week that his season might be over. For me, I think I'm interested to see what they do in terms of their pass rate with no Pacheco in the game. Like, do they start to utilize Travis Kelce and Rashee Rice in those short yardage, the slants, the little quick hitters to try and sort of, supplement what we don't know. I mean, we're getting Carson Steele and freaking
Samaje Perine.
I mean, yeah, sorry. I think something insane happened to the Rams returned a 37-yard punt. They were at the 50 with 42 seconds left and a chance to possibly kick.
They're going to win.
And a chance to possibly save my season future of Rams to make the playoff. Yeah. Immediately, their 2 best players are on IR. My future is gone. And here they are looking to upset the Niners. Welcome to the NFL, guys. Yeah. Buckle up.
This is a wild game, by the way. So Kyron Williams has 3 touchdowns. It's him, Marshall Faulk, Steven Jackson, and Todd Gurley, the Rams running backs, to do that since 2000. Leading receiver for the Rams is Tutu Atwell, straight out of the grave. Where did you come from, bro? And then on the other side, Juwan Jennings has 175 yards and 3 touchdowns.
I'll tell you about that guy, Juwan Jennings, man. He is an absolute sleeper. I've talked about it on the show. He was everything for me in the Super Bowl last year. He almost won MVP. I almost cashed the Juwan Jennings MVP ticket if they won that game, probably.
Incredible. Looks like we're going to get a PI on the 49ers. Rams are probably going to have a potential game-winning field goal. Anywho, I think we'll see the Chiefs pass a little bit more, dink and dunk. I think they'll be able to move the ball pretty easily against Atlanta. And then with the Falcons, my one concern here is that, that final drive from Kirk Cousins was awesome, but it was sort of like, he's like, all right, I don't really have a choice in the matter when it comes to how I'm going to be concerned with my Achilles. I just got to go out there and sling it. And I just don't know that that's what their offense is going to look like. I think it's going to be a healthy dose of Bijan, and I think they might struggle to keep up with the Chiefs. So I lean towards the Chiefs here. Kens, what is the model like?
I know. I hate to not have a passionate play again, but we literally came up with a very, very similar score to the odds makers here. Have it as a 3-point victory for the Chiefs. I would lean the over, and if I were to pick, I would lean the Chiefs. And here's why. I feel like we are so due for a Patrick Mahomes 350-yard passing yard, 4 touchdown type of game, and maybe not having Pacheco might push that narrative to happen a little bit more. So I just think I can't bet against this guy. I was talking about it on my TikTok, for Swifties 101, talking about the injuries on this team, but I said, you know what, you have a healthy Patrick Mahomes for 4 quarters of football, and sometimes that's all you need. So really hard to bet against him, especially with, I feel like we're building up for one of those massive, massive passing yard games from him.
Yeah, entirely possible. Any other thoughts on the game as a whole before we get to, but yeah, go ahead, Danny.
Yeah, I'm going to rain on the parade because when everyone's
Oh,
ready.
yeah, sorry, I didn't give you a chance to. Yeah, my bad. Go ahead.
Well,
Yeah.
no, that's totally cool, man. I kind of skipped over myself, to be honest, because I was teasing the pick, but I should have kind of given it there. But
Yeah, okay. I was like, didn't I throw it to Danny? Am I crazy? Like, all right, whatever.
I could've sworn I
maybe
threw
I
it there.
didn't. Yeah, who knows?
Yeah, I could have sworn I did. No, I like the under, man. I know that you have some concerns about the Falcons defense and their ability to stop the Chiefs. Kansas looking for a big potential night from Patrick Mahomes. Primetime unders, back to the well we go. You've seen the green check marks come up, guys, and they're hitting at above a 60% clip for the last 5 seasons. This is not a new trend, right? So Patrick Mahomes, star player, offense. I'm going to be the contrarian time and time again. And if I'm wrong, so be it. I think we'll profit at the end of the season. Again, I'm really high on Justin Simmons and Jesse Bates. Add AJ Terrell, good cover corner there. Of course, Rashee Rice could do his thing. Xavier Worthy. It doesn't matter what tools the Chiefs have. Andy Reid finds a way to make it work, whether it's even Kadarius Toney. It doesn't matter, right? They find a way. But I'm actually going to take the under on Patrick Mahomes' passing yards as well and say that defense comes to play on both sides of the ball. I think that just because Isaiah Pacheco is out, it doesn't mean that they abandon the run game. They'll go to Carson Steele. They'll go to a solid veteran in Samaje Perine. And Patrick Mahomes, we talked about this last week, Brinson, second lowest ADOT in the league. Jaden Daniels is the only other QB with a lower average depth of target. You'd be surprised. So, maybe he'll burn me. It's Patrick Mahomes, but I feel like you're paying more for the name than the number in his actual production thus far. He had 151 passing yards last week. Yeah, that was last week, but I'm saying this number's inflated. I'll go under the total, under his pass yards.
I will say, too, one thing to consider if you're going to be live betting this game, if the Chiefs get a lead, Andy Reid's second half unders are fantastic looks. I mean, He takes the air out of the ball. If they get up, they will pound the football. I think they'll be able to have success if they want to run the ball aggressively with Perine and with Carson Steele against that Falcons front. So if you're, if you see a Chiefs lead, maybe look for a second half under or a live under, and also maybe some live Carson Steele or Perine, depending on who's getting the carries over on their rushing props. Let's get to our props. I'm going to say, and I don't think that this is in any way correlated to what, by the way, the Rams win. Wow. What a steal by the Rams. Winning with 3 offensive linemen on IR, knocking the 49ers down to, they're 1-2, right? And then
Demarcus Robinson as your lead receiver.
No Puka, no Cup. Yeah, it's crazy.
Amazing.
NFL, man. Anywho, I'm going to go Bijan. I saw Bijan Robinson. It was over 15.5. It looks like it's up to 16.5 at plus 105. I think that you're going to see them feed Bijan Robinson the ball a ton, no matter what the game script is. And even if as long as it's not like wildly out of hand and they have to throw every time. And I expect the Falcons will be able to score enough to keep it close unless the Chiefs pull away late. So I like the over on Bijan Robinson rushing attempts. Sia, what do you have?
Yeah, by the way, I still think it's 50. I'm double checking it now. I still think the rushing attempts is 15.5 in some places. So I just kind of wanted to point that out.
Yeah, I'd rather have 15.5, obviously.
Right before the show was 15.5. It's 15.5 at some places, some big books right now. So definitely fine, because that really could be the difference. I like the over. You have the over there. Yeah, I like the over there as well. And it's part of the reason, and I'll get to my prop in a second. It's part of the reason I like Danny Brasco's under. I don't have an official play on that one way or the other. But Atlanta's going to win this game, and KC has a decent enough rush defense, but it's going to be through Bijan Robinson and maybe a touch of Tyler Algier. So I think Bijan's in line for a great game. I think Rashee Rice is in line for a great game. But I do think the short area passing game and the running game is going to dominate this game, which might mean running the clock and which might mean hitting the under. Speaking of unders, here's my prop. I'm going Drake London under, but I'm not taking his receiving yards under. I'm not taking his receptions under. I'm taking his longest reception under of 21.5 at minus 110. I put this in on SportsLine. Speaking of short area, that's where Drake London has been working. Now, granted, that's just a 2-week sample size. That's not really big enough, but Darnell Mooney seems to be the guy going downfield. Even Kyle Pitts and Ray McLeod, more downfield threats than is Drake London. So I'm gonna take the chance that Drake London, he's gonna get 5 to 6 receptions. I kind of lean towards 5. I lean towards his under 5.5. But I don't think we're going to see a ton downfield. And if we do, it's going to be maybe one play downfield and he's going to have to catch it, or he's going to have to get some major yak. I think it's the Darnell Mooney guy. Speaking of ladders, David Talk was asking about ladders. I think that's the type of guy you want to ladder, not a Travis Kelce or not a Drake London. So give me Drake London's longest reception under 21.5 yards.
I don't want to, sorry, if I look like I was like like flailing.
Are you
about
looking at the Cowboys Ravens game?
Yes. It's a 3-point game. What the hell? I saw like CBS an alert and said like, here come the Cowboys. And I thought like somebody had done a post about like a Stephen A. Smith tweet or something like that. But no, it's the Cowboys are storming back. I like that. I like that that London under look though, for sure. Sia. He's, just the way that they're utilizing these guys, it feels like he's gonna have to catch something short and break it to go over that. And Cousins just doesn't want to throw downfield. Like you could tell, unless he's in a situation where he absolutely has to, he really doesn't want to. Danny, what do you have in terms of a player prop?
Yeah, I talked about it before in my under, sort of in tandem, these picks go together. And I'm going to go under Patrick Mahomes passing yards. 270.5 is the line right now. Again, I think you're paying more for his name than his actual production. Second lowest ADOT in the league. Falcons safeties should limit the explosive plays against them all year. I really do think they have the best safety duo in the league. And I think, again, this primetime game, time and time we see that it ends up being more of a war in the trenches than air raid offenses. You see the big name teams and the star players, and all of a sudden we get a grinding, clashing affair where helmets are just knocking around, looking to battle for field position in the line of scrimmage. And that could end up being the case even without Pacheco. I think Bijan Robinson and I think even Carson Steele and Samaje Perine are featured here in a game that goes under and sees Patrick Mahomes stay under this inflated total of 270.5 passing yards here.
All right, kids, what do we have from a player prop perspective? I need a parlay. I need a parlay to pop on Sunday night.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, we'll get a little parlay going later in the show. As far as the favorite play for the model, we're going Bijan over rushing and receiving yards. We make the number 122, which doesn't feel insane to me considering he's leading the team in receptions. Again, showing that Kirk really isn't throwing it far downfield. It's really the dump off type of situation, especially with the injuries still. He had 111 week 1, 122 week 2. So that's really why we come up with this 122 number here. But again, I mean, he makes up for 55% of the team's rushing yards, makes up for nearly 15% of the team's receiving yards. And sometimes you can, work backwards from the odds makers lines. And you're looking at Kirk Cousins' passing yard line is 231. So 15% of 231 is 35. So I'm looking at 35 receiving yards. I know someone in the chat was asking about Robinson specifically receiving yards 30 plus. I like that. I mean, again, this is going with the same game script we've been talking about with them dumping off the ball, short passes, and taking advantage of the run game, and maybe an under as well for our boy Danny.
I was looking for that note in the chat, but I don't see it. But we do have some questions from the chat. Let's toss them up. Pitts over receiving yards.
I'm not positive of the number. We have him projected for 3.3 receptions, 34 yards. Which feels low. I
just still have so many question marks about this Zach Robinson offense. Like, what's after he ran 58% pistol in week 1? I was just like, what are we in for? What do we expect?
What is going on?
And it took 40 minutes for him to come to life against the Eagles offense. So, like, show me something, Zach. Show me before I bet on his offense, because I'm not quite sure. Other than Bijan, because I totally agree with what you guys are saying, not quite sure what the identity of this offense is.
I see a 40.5 out there for Pitts. That's something that an average top 10 NFL draft pick who's playing tight end in a functional offense should clear on a weekly basis pretty easily. But man, they do not use him in this offense, and they haven't used him. The Chiefs are bad against tight ends, so you could potentially see them maybe go to Pitts here. I think Pitts is a really good. I think if I'm going to play Pitts, I've got a Pitts thing we'll talk about later. If you're going to do him, maybe it's like contrarian DFS or something like that, or like anytime touchdown. I just don't know that he's going to get the usage on the yardage, and it's just something we have to see before I think we can take that leap, even at a small number like 40.5.
Yeah, I agree with that. I would maybe take a look at his longest reception over as opposed to the total receiving yards, but not super interested in that. By the way, Mackenzie, I know you said we've got a parlay to give out later. And Will, because you're so intrigued by parlays, I have a few like leans that I had, and I'll give it out after we give out the parlay. Like I don't know if it's the goose or it's some, but like I have like 4 or 5 plays that were leans for me that I think one could, if he or she wanted to, throw into a parlay. So I just wanted to tease that for later.
I love it. All right. Steele over 11.5 rushing attempts. I'm locking it in. I guess we don't need to answer that if you've locked it in. But yeah, I think I like that. If we're operating on, they seem to trust him enough last week when Pacheco went down, and then using him in some short yardage stuff as kind of a bruiser. If this game turns into a shootout or Atlanta gets ahead, then you might be in trouble here, because I think it would be a lot of P. Ryan as the better pass catching back. But yeah, I don't mind Steele over rushing attempts.
The only caution I would put out there is after the Jordan Mason effect in week 1, where everyone's like, oh, lead back is out, bet the backup. They're not all going to get 25 carries for 100 million yards. It's just, they're not all going to immediately step in there and be incredible backs. So I'm a little wary of just jumping and hammering down attempts, right? And just betting on usage rate of a backup, because we can't really know. I could end up seeing Samaje Perine be featured here. I mean, he's done really good work for the Bengals and other teams in his journeyman career. So I'm not in love with it, but I do agree with your point. Reed's giving it to him. The kid's got toughness. And if they need some gritty yards, it'll be Steele. But 11.5 feels a little high.
I'm not betting it under on anybody who owns an alligator. Kelsey ladder, 50 yards, 75 and 90 yards. 50 yards is, yeah. I would ladder catches before I laddered.
Yeah, 100%.
What do we make of Kelsey nowadays? What do we expect from his season? I'm just confused by him and his trajectory.
I think coming into the year, they add Xavier Worthy, they bring in Hollywood Brown, who's now out for the season, but you have Rashee Rice. You don't know if he's going to be suspended or not. You have some of these other sort of tertiary weapons on offense. I think they want to ease ease the wear and tear on Kelsey. And he doesn't care how he's a Hall of Famer already, right? He doesn't really care how he plays during the regular season, piling up records. He just wants to get to the playoffs, light it up, and win a Super Bowl, go, three-peat. So, but I do think that this maybe is a little spot where it's all right, everybody's ripping on Kelsey. He's kind of done. Sunday Night Football.
He's ripping on himself too.
Yeah, it's sort of like a squeaky wheel situation. But I think you saw Sia's reaction there.
Okay, so first of all, I disagree with the thought that Kelsey just kind of wants to wait for the playoffs. This guy wants attention about as much as Aaron Rodgers or anybody else you can think of that has that sort of please look at me vibe. So I think he wants to go out there, especially on prime time, and prove it. The question is he old enough or is he too old to prove it? And I think the answer might be yes. Listen, I think he's going to be very involved, not just this game, but a lot of games. But I don't really like the yardage. I like the underneath stuff. I agree with you. I think you said you like the receptions more than anything else. It's 4.5, which is kind of a lot, but I do see Travis Kelce gobbling up some short area receptions in this game as well. And I'll say this, if the Chiefs fall behind, and I'll give you another live bet opportunity for the Atlanta Falcons. If the Chiefs fall behind, you're going to see the Falcons play a lot more soft coverage. And that is going to lend itself to some easy dump offs to Travis Kelce. So if you want to look at Travis Kelce yards or receptions, I would actually look at it once this game goes live and just to see where the game flow, where the game script ends up. The flip side of that is Darnell Mooney. I think if we see Atlanta go down early, maybe 10, 13 points, I would really look at Darnell Mooney's overs, because that's the guy in the 2-minute drill that Kirk Cousins was clearly comfortable with. His routes were really good. They kept going back to that same 7 route, I believe it was.
That deep out on the left side. Yeah. Just twice nails. Yeah.
Eagles just weren't covering. And so I just think he's a guy that you're going to see get some long balls, some 20 plus yard gains potentially. So look out for Darnell Mooney live as well.
One more. Carson Steele under 9.5 receiving yards. I don't hate that. And Ray McLeod under 3.5 receptions after we got torched by Ray McLeod. Proppy gave that out, and I think Sia had mentioned it too, or you weren't on the show, but you had mentioned it, Sia. And Ray's gets 2 targets within the first drive. Come on, man. Atlanta's the target distribution with Atlanta. That's just the thing. It's I talked about Bijan Robinson coming out of college as like my favorite prospect in the history of football. Dude gave me butterflies watching him play football at Texas. And then, you see what they're doing with the target distribution. They feed Bijan, but it's dude, throw the ball to Pitts, throw it to Drake London. I love Darnell Mooney. Ray McLeod's fun, but what are we doing here?
Yeah,
3.5 feels.
Go ahead, Ken.
I'm just thinking 3.5 is. Oh, I could not maybe stay off, but I would not go over 3.5, right? It just feels like
no. You go under 3.5.
Yeah.
Proppy is read Proppy's write-ups. I always like scrolling through the SportsLine section and seeing, when we're about to cover Sunday Night Football. What's everyone on? I want to see what my colleagues are on. Proppy's incensed with this total. He's been screaming that the market is overvaluing Ray. The target share is unsustainable right now. I always enjoy Proppy's write-ups. And he's back to the well on this under. I saw EK likes it too. I'm thinking, man, Ray burned me once. Will he burn us again? I think, if the numbers and the model, and you got to stick with your plays, even if it doesn't work the last weekend. Ray's got to see less target share. 3.5. Come on, man.
Well,
I'm all about regression to the mean here. Regression to the mean. Like you can't keep doing this to us. You just can't.
Probably he's gonna be. That drill tweet where he's like, "I'm not owned." He screams, shriveling into a husk of himself. It's like that's gonna be like probably like week 17. He's like, Ray under. It's gonna. All right, let's meander along. If you have any more questions, obviously drop them in the chat. I'm trying to get to them as best we can. We will get to any time touchdowns in a minute. Those for asking.
Cowboys couldn't do it, Brinson. The Cowboys couldn't do it. Ravens hang on. 28-25 final.
Stephen A. Smith will be a happy man.
Stephen O will also be a happy man.
Stephen O. Yeah, Stephen O.
That makes my life better. When Stephen O is happy, my week goes swimmingly.
When the Ravens lose, and it was a big Derrick Henry game too. Like he looked awesome. Yeah, Stephen O. should be in a good. Cowboys can't stop anybody in the run game. They there's 4 touchdowns to Kamara last week, and now
Derrick Henry was a beast today.
I think they're dead last.
I
think they're dead last in defensive rush DVOA. The Dallas Cowboys, vaunted front, dead last in rush defense.
25 carries, 151 yards, and 2 touchdowns for Henry. Wow. And Lamar ran one in. I would say that Cowboys at 1-2 with a really bad defensive performances against New Orleans and Baltimore now. We're getting some hot seat clicks getting cranked up. Mike McCarthy's in trouble. And by the way, when Dan Quinn wasn't there, the Cowboys defense was horrendous under Mike Nolan. Now, Mike Zimmer in charge doesn't look that great either. Okay, let's get to any time touchdown props, courtesy of the SportsLine model. What we got, Kens?
All right, we got a few here. We talked about Algier a little bit. I think he could be some pretty solid value here. I mean, I know we don't have exactly too much model value, but just looking at the upward trends, just 21 yards in week 1, no receptions. And then he has 53 yards and a reception in week 2. So I like the running back / receiving threat when you get to the goal line here. I think we talk about Robinson's versatility, but I think that means that we could see some situations where, we get Algier and no one's really looking for him. Oz implied 2 offensive touchdowns, and 28% of 2 is greater than 0.5. So we're still looking at value there. Then we're going to go Worthy here. I really like him. Again, this is the perfect kind of guy to put into this Chiefs creative, fun offense. We saw him with some rushing yards as well. So again, a rush and receiving threat. Those are the guys you want to bet on at the goal line here. We'd make this around an even money play. So plenty of value at plus 170. And then Rashee Rice, again, I mean, it accounts for 24% of the team's receptions, but nearly 30% of the receiving touchdowns. So clearly someone Mahomes is looking for specifically in the end zone. And those are the types of guys you want to look to bet on as well. And again, as I always do, I try to pick 3 where if you go 1 and 2, you're definitely making some money there.
I love it. Rashee Rice, man, is going to have just an unbelievably big season. He's just, don't fade his receptions ever because he's just going to get fed. By the way, worth noting with the Niners loss. So my Survivor League, the one that I did had, I think it was like 1,500 or like 1,700 people in it before the season. Came into the week with 491. Another 292 got eliminated today. And it's like we have 71 people left in this league with 92 people, including myself, on the Bengals.
Week 3. We're in week 3.
Week 3. It's crazy. Circa might start another contest.
Yeah, they should. People would re-up and buy back in because I see the tournament.
That's a great call.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hey, by the way, I'm looking at BetMGM right now, and I might have mistook what that graphic said, but I think the line has moved on Rashee Rice's anytime touchdown. It's now plus 125. I happen to think that's a great look. I don't think that. I think the graphic had it just a little less than that. I agree with you, Will. Ken's I think when you get to the red zone and you can't necessarily count on your running game like you previously could, to me, the first read, I think it's almost automatic that first read, maybe Travis Kelce, but more likely it's Rashee Rice from the 10-yard line and in.
Yeah, I mean, you see what the Chiefs do. They're not afraid to pass down there. You're spot on though. I think. Sia, what we've seen with him recently is, all right, we trust Pacheco. This guy's a violent runner. He can really, short yardage. He's going to get there. But they, you don't have that running game in place. Like when they drafted Clyde Edwards-Helaire and they just couldn't figure out what they were doing in the run game. Like after Kareem Hunt moved on, that's what they started doing, those jet sweeps, like underneath, like by the goal line. And I think you could see a lot of that motion, like Xavier Worthy in motion underneath to like get the defense to move around. Then Rashee Rice just sort of gets off his man on the line and is right there for an easy score. It would not be surprising at all. Anybody else have thoughts on a anytime touchdown?
When Chiefs go like you're talking about, when they go like full house formation, you're like, oh baby, who are they picking on this one? Like who's in motion? It's just like trickeration. It's a pleasure to watch. I don't know, man. I like the emergence of Samaje Perine. He's just a solid back, man. I watched him go over receiving lines that he had no business covering, and just being featured in games that, you know, Perine is the glue guy for the offense out of nowhere. I feel like Andy Reid might give him a look. So plus 245 there. I might take a little sprinkle on that.
Yeah, and I think Samaje's receptions is an interesting one too. I mean, we've seen it in the past over the last 5 years where the Chiefs won't even have the guy on their roster, but he's a former player. He re-signs. Like Damian Williams is one of those guys. And Jerick McKinnon is one of those guys where all of a sudden they re-sign and they are fully integrated into the offense. Now, Samaje Perine isn't necessarily a former Chief, but he's on this team. And I think when you have so many questions at the running back position, you want to go with the veteran. So I don't really like Samaje's yards necessarily, but if we're talking like flat receptions and an anytime touchdown, I think Perine's a pretty good look. I
mean, Perine was signed like a couple days before the start of the season. Yeah, and he's already had 3 targets in the course of 2 games. He had that one he dropped that was like it hit him right in the hands, but it was like the first game against the Ravens. You kind of understood it, and then like we saw in week 2 he also got a target, but the Chiefs were it was a difficult game. Like he's not going to be featured, but now with Pacheco out. Like he might very well be a featured guy in this offense. They love throwing to running backs, especially those, like you mentioned, the retread veteran running backs.
Yeah, and he'll be on the field in third down, I believe, too, because he's a good pass catching back. He'll be there in pass protection, and he'll be there in maybe key plays in the red zone on third down. So maybe you got a chance. There's a case for Samaje, low-key player that I like a lot.
Just be careful because Samaje's not hyper talented. He's not super shifty. Like he's going to catch the ball. He's going to make one cut and he's going to break a tackle or 2 maybe, but he's not your downfield threat by any means. That
is for sure. All right. We've all had our first TD bet called back before, and BetMGM is giving you a second chance with BetMGM's Pro Football Second Chance. Place any first touchdown score bet, and if your player doesn't score first but scores second, get your entire stake back in cash. No opt-in required. Here's how it works. Place a pregame straight first touchdown score bet in any NFL game. If your player scores the first touchdown of the game, you win your wager as normal. If your player scores the second touchdown, you get your original stake back in cash. It's that simple. Log into BetMGM for more details. I'm highly excited to announce that we're off the schneid. 2 people got on Allen Lazard for the Jets Patriots Thursday night game. Danny, good job. Was it you and
No, it was not me, but I'm just giving a little
good job by us.
Gems, diamond hands are up.
Yeah. It wasn't Jalen Polk, sadly.
No.
My son. It was speaking of streaks. Where you at, Robbie? You're not going to show up tonight? It's Sunday. No days off, pal. First TD pick has to be 10 or higher. We got Allen Lazard. We're going to get hot now. We're going to hit a couple in a row. I will say this is we talk about the high concentration of the stars and, the targets and where the offense goes. It makes for first touchdown. It makes it difficult for first touchdown scores in this game. You kind of go a little bit off script. I mean, Carson Steele's 8-1, Bijan 5.5, Kelsey, and then Rashee Rice are the 2 guys who under 10 as well. So those are the only 4 guys I believe that are off the board. Sia, who you got?
Jeff Stenberg says I need a 100-1 play so he can buy a jet ski. Now I have to look that up. But I've got Ray McCloud. Earmuffs all those who fade Ray. Here's the thing. I mean, I don't mind the under on his 3.5 receptions, but he gets fed early. Like he's just one of those guys that's involved in the game plan early. And I could absolutely see him being the guy just coasting in the middle of the field and catching a touchdown. I'm getting him at plus 2,400. So anytime I'm getting 24-1 to a guy or for a guy that I think is going to be involved early, I'm just going to take it. Wouldn't surprise me at all if the Atlanta Falcons score first, and anything longer than 10-1. Ray was the one that spoke to me.
Okay. How about you, Danny?
So I can almost guarantee you that I won't have the most gems at the end of the season, but Brinson, I'm looking for the shiniest ones. So I'm going long shots, right? And I'm going with an old Chief name. What about Mecole Hardman? 43 to 1 odds here. I mean, we've seen him before. We've seen him featured in big games, Super Bowl games. And the guy's been a part of the game plan before. Of course, we know the trickeration, the crazy formations in the red zone. Why not a jet sweep to Mecole, right? I'm not going to give you some crazy math why the plus 4,300 makes sense, but these are the types of picks I'm going to be betting on first TD scores. Random, forgotten receivers, defenses, 43 to 1, baby. Give me Mecole.
Lucas says, I need a big hit to buy my wife an engagement ring. Please, please, guys, please. One, might want to hold off on, I don't know. I don't want to like judge status or like statty or stat-I or whatever it is. Like, but yeah, like if she's your wife, you already locked it up, buddy. Like, yeah, I don't think
wife engagement ring. It's done.
Yeah,
right?
yeah. If you're already married, I don't know if I'm going out and buying the engagement ring right now. Maybe just get a car or something. You already locked it up. You don't need the jewelry. I'm very popular with the ladies. But yeah, we'll see if we get you a big hit and get you that ring, buddy.
Jeff said, go with the jet ski, Lucas. I love it. We're going for the jet ski for Jeff. Sia. We're going for the jet ski.
Yes.
Do you guys know John Hyslop? Like it's like Slop on Twitter or whatever. Yeah. Like I love Slop. He cracks me up. But he's like I'm gonna hit one of these home run parlays, and he's like, and then I'm buying a monkey and I'm buying a jet ski, like, which sounds absolutely incredible. Mecole Hardman 43 to 1, not crazy. I think you can see them deploy a bunch of different people around the goal line, and Mecole is the guy we saw in the Super Bowl. Like, all right, we need something close, and we need something gadgety and gimmicky, and they're not going to cover him because he's Mecole Hardman. And then say. Like, I wouldn't be surprised at all if he's the jet sweep guy, right? I don't like any of my picks tonight. I'm sorry for the lack of confidence and excitement. But Kyle Pitts, 12 to 1. Nobody wants to play Kyle Pitts. The Falcons don't even want to play Kyle Pitts. 12 to 1 seems terrible. Let's take it.
We're gonna do it. Let's make it really ugly.
Yeah, like let's get in the mud here. Did you already said Ray Racy? Yeah. So Kens, what do you have?
I feel kind of lame. I typically don't go quote unquote chalk. It's 10 to 1, but it's still chalk in our eyes for this play right now. I do like Worthy. I feel like he could be the jet sweep guy or just some fun, creative play. Like I do think this is going to be a Patrick Mahomes passing touchdown play. He hasn't had a game with like 3 passing touchdowns in a really long time. So I just think we're getting passing touchdowns. It could be something creative or it could be the jet sweep, but I feel like Worthy is someone to look out for in this game.
Hey, Will, if I could, and I agree with both of Danny and Kenz's analysis near the goal line, but if I could, because Jeff wants to buy a jet ski and we've got engagement rings allegedly on the line here, we were asked to look for a 100 to 1 shot. I'll give you an 80 to 1. At least it's 80 to 1 on BetMGM. Maybe it's 100 to 1 somewhere else. So the BetMGM typically has the best odds on these. Jared Wiley has caught 100% of the balls thrown to him.
Who?
Granted, that's just one ball, right? He caught it for 7 yards. But I'm just saying, I think this kid is a rookie. He's 6'6", 250. If you want to get tricky around the goal line, you fake that jet sweep, and then you pump fake to Kelsey, and then you have Jared Wiley standing wide open in the end zone. That's my jet ski first touchdown play of the night.
Let's go. We should get a jet ski engagement ring parlay going now. That's what I'm doing.
Yeah. Let's get a jet ski engagement ring parlay. Like, what do you think a nice engagement ring costs? Like $300-$400?
Yeah, 110 to 1 on that. So hey, man, maybe you hit that and find a place that sells them both and get a bulk discount.
I'm gonna sprinkle on this Jared Wiley first touchdown score. I like this.
I want to ask you guys about a player. I saw people talking about him a little bit in the chat. More just an open-ended question. I think I lean towards overs maybe on yards for this, but Noah Gray, always somebody that I see on my TV catch a ball, run for some yards, and I'm like, damn, I bet his over cash tonight, and nobody's on it. How do you guys feel about Noah Gray? We have him projected for 18 yards on 1.9, so essentially 2 receptions. But I don't know. I think his receiving yard line's like 14.5, maybe.
I stand pretty hard for Noah Gray. Like I almost always bet no gray, like first touchdown score. Or I sneak him in as like the last guy in my DraftKings lineup or something. You know, like just
Yeah.
just
I'm
feels
big on
like
the ugly plays like that. You know me. I took 2
Yeah.
of over 4.5 rushing yards, so nothing's too gross for me. But
Travis
that
Kelce
one
double.
ended very poorly, but yes, he got there.
you get there.
Yeah, he did get there. Just yeah.
It's at
Anyway,
the cost of a lot of other things.
yeah. Wait, do we have an engagement ring like jet ski parlay? What do we?
I have a parlay. I don't know if it's a jet ski engagement ring, but I have a +5. Harry, quote me on this. I believe we have a graphic for it. +570.
We have a cubic zirconium parlay. So
Yeah.
Lab grown
All right,
diamond.
so we're going Chiefs money line. We talked about that. Patrick Mahomes over 1.5 passing touchdowns. Again, I feel like he's due for that. You usually see this around 2.5, sometimes 3 going back to last season. So to get 1.5 feels like you got to grab it, especially with Pacheco out. Going to Worthy again over 38.5 yards. We have him projected for 50. I think could be another great game for him as well. And we're going to Atlanta's kicker here. I saw some people talking about kicker props. I like him over 1.5 field goals. I really like any field goal props in these primetime games. I know there's some pretty strong trends leading towards them, but I think this Chiefs defense could stop them just short, and we'd see a few home indoor field goals here. And that's +575. That's like a quarter, an eighth to the jet ski engagement fund, depending on your unit size.
I love the jet ski engagement.
Hey, Will, let me give out, because I haven't put this parlay together. Let me just give out all my leans, and if people want a jet ski and an engagement ring this thing up, they can feel free to do it. All right, we're gonna start with Rashee Rice over. These are all just like straight plays, no alt lines. You can feel free to drop these with alt lines.
I'm tailing this, Sia. I'm tailing.
Oh, okay. Rashee Rice over 76.5 receiving yards. That's
I see a 75.5 out there too.
Okay, perfect. Rashee Rice. Oh, well, I'll just say it like this: Rashee Rice over receiving yards. Bijan Robinson over combo yards, rushing and receiving, which I believe the model and Ken's already like. Tyler Algier, longest rush under 9.5 yards. Bijan Robinson over 15.5 rush attempts. Darnell Mooney over 36.5 receiving yards. And let's pepper in a Rashee Rice anytime touchdown on top of those receiving yards we already mentioned. What does that calculate to? I'm not sure, but it's fun.
I know that you can't. The only issue would be the longest rush. A lot of they won't do the parlays. Won't let you do the under longest rush because they typically end up being good. But let's see. What was an anytime touchdown score for Rashee Rice?
Yeah, can't parlay longest rush. Yeah.
Okay, so we got to take that out.
Oh, and Bijan Robinson total yardage and rush attempts. They won't let you do rush attempts and long
rush attempts. You can't put in parlays, which is so infuriating.
They know.
Yeah,
they know
totally.
those are good lines. Yeah.
I've taken this plenty of times, but not in parlays.
Bijan Robinson over Darnell Mooney. I did 40 plus yards just to get a plus number, and then Rashee Rice anytime touchdown is 10-1.
Not bad.
Not bad at all.
And also you let's say 50% profit boost. Hello, there we go.
There it is.
Is there anything else I should throw? Should I throw in should I throw in a Wiley anytime touchdown? It's like 70-1 into this parlay, and then we start talking about it like a jet ski, like an engagement ring, like with a jet ski on it. So like a
in the
engagement happens on a jet ski.
Yeah. Get engaged on my jet ski to my pet monkey. Let me see here. What's it? Anytime Wiley touchdown, Jared Wiley 20-1.
That's just, they're really robbing us on these. What about our boy Noah Gray?
Exactly. You just never know with the Chiefs. Like Noah Gray, Travis Kelce body double. Kelce anytime. Oh, it's Noah Gray. What?
we don't like the Jared Wiley one. Feels like a reach for that anytime,
right? But bomb down field, Justin Watson.
Loud on Wiley.
Yeah, it's this guy who we just found out about this week that is now Patrick Mahomes' new favorite target. You're going to find a new receiver every week.
It's I talked about this with the Packers. It feels like betting on the Boston Celtics player props because you're like, who's going to go off tonight? Yes, could be any of you. You can all shoot well from deep. It's not going to be all of you. It's going to be about 2 or 3, and I don't know which ones. And I'm just going to stay off it.
All right, I'm going to ladder.
We got spammed with Rashee Rice reception.
Rashee Rice over 6.5 receptions from Ramo. Ramo, my man, you should have to ask it once. We see it. I like over. I like over on Rashee Rice receptions every time.
I don't mind it. That's a lot number, but I don't mind it.
Yeah. It's like in
What's the
Jeopardy
yard
when they
line?
can't buzz in. And the guy's like, I'm buzzing in. Why can't I answer any of these questions? And he
It's like,
just can't get it.
Sir, please stop buzzing. Okay, let's recap our bets. I have the Chiefs -3 and Bijan Robinson over 16.5 rushing attempts plus 1.5. You can find it at 15.5 juice to the over. I would play the 15.5. Sia's got the Drake London longest reception under 21.5 yards. Danny's got the under 46.5 on primetime unders. Patrick Mahomes under 269.5 passing yards. And Ken's, what do you have with the model?
Yes. I'm on Robinson rushing and receiving yards tonight over 106. We got him projected for 122.
All right. Let's keep it tight. Let's keep it real. Let's get out there and make some cash. I'll do it
Big
for
night,
us, for
boys.
Ken's, for Danny, for Sia. I'm Brinson. Thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. We'll see you guys tomorrow.